If you run a business or manage people or just want to get ahead at work, you're going to want to hear this. I sat down with Manuj Aggarwal, who's founder of TetraNoodle, a tech company that develops custom AI tools to solve real business problems. When they reached out to me, I was really impressed. So I wanted to share what they're doing and how you can start building with AI today and why those who learn it now have a massive edge in business and at work. Hi, Manuj. Good to see you again.
Thank you so much, Gur. Looking forward to this conversation. I'm a thought leader in AI. I've been in the technology field for about 30 years, 20 years in AI, 4 patents now in AI. We have been developing really impactful solutions on AI. What we do is at TetraNoodle, we create AI agents. We help companies adopt AI. One of our patented technology got mentioned by President Obama and Bill Gates. We are the first AI company that has been vetted, approved, endorsed by the Mensa Foundation. So we have a methodology for other companies to adopt AI in a consistent manner, and that methodology has been approved by Mensa Foundation, which is basically the organization that conducts IQ tests. So they are custodians of human intelligence, and they are now looking at what does it mean to be intelligent in the age of AI.
One of the things I appreciate about TetraNoodle and what you do is that you're actually going into companies and tailoring solutions that you provide for them and you build for them. As I kind of tell small businesses, medium-sized businesses, if I talk to a manager, you've got to tailor AI. You can't expect an off-the-shelf solution to come in. The question is, how do you advise a business and people to think in that way without...
Yeah. No, that's a very, very good question. Before industrialization happened, everything used to be customized and personalized. There was no such thing as a standard kind of cookie cutter solution. And when industrialization happened, then people said, okay, we are going to mass produce everything and everybody will get the same cookie cutter solution. Like, so, we are wearing this, you are wearing a gray shirt, I'm wearing a blue shirt. This is only available in 4 sizes, 4 colors, take it or leave it, right? That was the industrial revolution. Now, with AI, everything will be personalized. And that is the mindset change slowly that will happen, that people will need to understand that AI is a powerful technology that you don't need to settle for a cookie cutter solution. You have to customize it. So the way that we advise people is think of AI as this superpower that will turn any of your problems into solutions. Because at the end of the day, if you are solving any problem, you need 2 resources: time and intelligence. So time is limited. We all have 24 hours. Intelligence used to be limited, but now with AI, you can enhance it, right? So ChatGPT, for example, has an IQ of 150 today. Einstein had an IQ of about 170. By the end of this year, all these AI platforms are expected to have an IQ of about 1,500. So that will really give you that power to solve these problems. And so how do we advise people is saying that, okay, 80% of all revenue in every business is coming from 20% of the effort. That is a universal truth, right? So the rest of the 80% of the work that we do in our business is the repetitive, mundane drudgery of work that can be offloaded to automation, AI, and that is where customization and personalization comes in. Because if every business, that 80% is different for every business. Some people are bottlenecked by number of leads in their business. Some people are bottlenecked by support. Some people are bottlenecked by operations, hiring, various things that a business experiences as a bottleneck. But the solution is AI customized for that problem.
When they come to you or they approach you, do they have a good sense, or even if you meet, I'm sure you meet, you are constantly meeting new people, new businesses, you start kind of engaging them on this field. Do they have a good sense of what their issues are, where their bottlenecks are, or do you have to handhold them in a way to look at their processes and actually say, hey, look at how much time you're spending here? Do they have a good grasp of what they need, or do you...
It's a little bit of both. So at the end of the day, every business owner understands the basic fundamentals. Basic fundamentals are if I take less time to produce something, it will cost less and I will make more profit. If there is a bottleneck, I can solve it, then I can expand my business, get more customers, all of that. These are fundamental things that people understand, right? Now comes the next level. Okay, where in my business are the bottlenecks? In many cases, the mature business people, they understand because they have been running the business for a while. They understand the ins and outs. Okay, where are the bottlenecks? Where is it taking most time? So they do have an idea, but sometimes they may only have a gut feel. They may not have an objective reality check. They may not be collecting data about each process. They may not be
Yeah.
measuring things in a data oriented manner. So that's where we say, okay, let's look at data. Even if you have very little data, everybody's collecting some data. So even if it's like, your invoicing, your CRM, it will give us some idea where the bottlenecks are. And then we start go fishing, find out the bottlenecks, and then address those.
Obviously, I'm sharing how ChatGPT works, how Midjourney works, and to be honest, even like you talk to mid-managers, in fact, most people, and when you mention AI, the first thing they think is ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Midjourney, all these platforms that are basically available to us to use. But you're not talking only about that. You're accessing them, I assume, a lot. How do you get them to understand that it's not just about that surface level, or what kind of tools do you actually use beyond what most people are aware of?
So you see, when we look at ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever, like these are public AI platforms. So public AI platforms, they, as by default, they cater to the minimum common denominator. They don't know anything about your business. They don't know anything about how you execute your processes. They can give you generic output, and which is really good because before this, even getting that generic output used to take a lot of effort, a lot of time, energy. Now, once you get the generic output, how do you use it to profit in your business? That is the key question. Generic output will give you generic profits. So the way to generate massive profits is to take AI models, train it on your business, on your customers, on your offerings, all of that. And then this becomes your digital kind of executive board. Any company today, it is structured in similar manner. There are some people at the top, the executives. So that could be one single entrepreneur, CEO, or few executives, and they make the strategic decision. That is the mind of the organization. And then they have the employees underneath them that are doing the daily work, right? In parallel, there's going to be AI digital mind, which is trained on your business, your data, and then it will be surrounded by a whole bunch of AI agents which will be doing the work. In some cases, these AI agents can do much better work than the humans, but in most cases, they will be empowering the humans to do the work that humans can do better, but then take care of the automated, the mundane work, filling out the spreadsheets, following up, providing customer support, checking some issues in the system, bottlenecks, whatever. So those are mundane things that humans don't need to really worry about anymore. And then they can focus on just connecting with people, understanding their needs and all of that. So this is how the future of every business is going to evolve.
I mean, before we get into kind of use cases and actually going into a bit more detail, how do you deal with the skepticism that you find from business owners and upper management where they say, no, I'll wait. Things are constantly improving. I'll just wait until things kind of settle down and we know which tool to use, or now's not the time, or yeah, I know that we have to invest in this, but we just don't have the time or the budget, all this kind of resistance that you might find, and convincing them to take that first step.
I'll say one thing first. This is all human nature, that whenever a new technology comes in, this is how we react. Humans don't like change. Humans like to have familiar territory. So think about when the internet was becoming mainstream. I remember I used to talk to people in the late 90s. Hey, do you need a website? Do you need an email address? And people used to say, no, I have my white pages, I have my yellow pages. I don't need any website. I don't know what it is, right? And today you cannot function without a website or an email account. Same thing when the smartphone was invented. Like a lot of people, even me, I resisted buying a smartphone for a long time. But then today we cannot function without a smartphone.
Yeah.
So these technologies may not get adopted like mass adopted right away, and that is determined by a theory called diffusion of innovation. So when an innovative technology comes in, it dictates that about 2 to 15% of the people will embrace that technology initially. When people say to me that, okay, things can wait, all I tell them is, look, there is a tsunami of AI coming,
Yeah.
and there are only a few life jackets and lifeboats available. So it is
Yes.
up to you when you want to wear it. I'm already talking to some businesses where they have started losing business to their competitors because their competitors have started adopting AI. They are bringing down the cost. They are, providing better service. So organically, what will happen is people who wait, they will start to feel the pinch. Now with tariffs going on, all the uncertainty going on, it is time right now to not get scared, but to say, okay, how can I protect my business for what is happening in the future?
When we talk about businesses, you can be talking to the kind of businesses that you've already provided great service for, which, are doing well and they've got funding and the budgets for this. But like, how do, as a small business, is it accessible? Can they build proprietary tools? What kind of budgets should they be looking at? Obviously it can range. There's different all
So
needs and
yeah. See, there are options available. This is where most people get it wrong. That it means AI means like a lot of investment and a lot of headache. So, for example, even using ChatGPT for free is a big step for some people. So I recommend people at least sign up for a free account for any of these AI tools so that you get a little bit of an understanding what this all means. The barrier of entry has been reduced to free, absolutely free. Let's say you are a business making, I don't know, like let's say $100,000. Not a very big business at all. Like these days, $100,000. As a business owner, you need to understand that in order to survive, you need to put 1 to 2% or 1 to 5% of your annual revenue towards research and development. And that is nothing to do with AI. That is nothing to do with any of the technology. It's just a normal way of feeding the business. Like if you have a big business, it's like a baby. You need to feed it. You need to make sure it grows. 1 to 5% of your annual budget, at least focus on putting towards R&D. And that's not asking for too much. If you use that simple math, then it starts to scale. So you go from 100,000 to 500,000, from 500,000 to 5 million, 5 million to 100 million, whatever that is. That budget for R&D can stay the same. Like 1 to 5% is not big. But the idea is how you spend that budget smart and efficiently. Eventually, it starts to bring in profit. 50%, 100%, 200%. As you innovate, the rate of return needs to increase.
Yeah, for sure. I often say to a business, you're going to need to either hire internally somebody who takes the responsibility of this, especially with the AI. He or she has to learn all these LLMs and what's out there and keep track of what's going on, and then also start going deeper into how do you create some proprietary tools. Or you hire someone like me, or if they have the budget, a company like TetraNoodle, to actually build tools and build a strategy for them with AI. And that obviously costs a lot more. And that's where they immediately cease because, people is the biggest, obviously, cost. But that budget has to allow for that. Like you said, there are small businesses, and a small business could be an architect that I spoke to 2 weeks ago. She's renovating apartments, buildings, and really doing some amazing work. She wants to be active on social media, marketing herself in a certain way. She's a brand. She's a one-person business, but she wants to hire people and she can't afford it. She can hire freelancers. And so I said to her, just allocate some money and I'll at least build you some tools, a kind of toolkit that you can build a workflow around. So I think it's that convincing. It's allowing a business owner to say, okay, I'm going to take that first step. And that's what she agreed to do, except hopefully it'll happen only in about a month. But just take that first step. Just spend those few hours learning, understanding what the toolkit does for you, using it, and then suddenly you see the time savings.
Yeah,
and then it gives the appetite for more.
exactly.
So you mentioned that you build agents, you train models. What does that actually mean? Are you actually building with existing LLMs and attaching to it, or are you actually developing your own personal models? How far do you guys go?
Yeah, so I don't think anybody needs to develop their AI models. Like the best option is open source LLM models, which are called foundational models. So Facebook has released just like this last week they released
Yeah,
Llama 4. So
yeah,
these models are very powerful and they are free to use. So you take an open source model, then what you do is you train that model on your business. So we collect a
right.
bunch of data about your business, the kind of clients you serve, how do you make decisions, what are your revenue goals, what are some of the strategies you are following. Imagine you just hired a very smart MBA scholar. Now you have to train them on your business. Now they understand all your business. Once this is done, this is your digital kind of executive board. For example, the architect that you mentioned, one of the key things that small businesses need are lead generation, like sales teams. It's very difficult to hire like a salesperson as you're growing. They cost a lot of money. So now what we can do is we can create digital salespeople that can go out there, and it could be on the phone, it could be on the email, it could be on WhatsApp, it could be on Messenger, whatever it is. And you can train them and say, look, this we are selling architectural services, and our ideal client is this kind of client. So go out there, find those people, and when they show some interest, have a conversation with them, just like a normal human being will have. And if they are convinced that we are the right company to serve them, then book a call on the calendar. So that's one thing. Secondly, once the client has signed up, then there are a lot of things that need to happen to onboard a client. A lot of companies have bottlenecks there, that we are
Yeah,
not able to onboard the client. We have to collect their information. We have to get them to sign agreements. We have to, make sure they are doing their part in whatever service we are providing, so that we can do our job. So again, AI agent can actually help here. As soon as a client comes in, the AI agent kicks in. It goes through all the workflows, follow up with the customer, collect all the information, get the agreement signed, all of that. Then comes fulfillment. Okay, now the customer has come in, we have onboarded them. Now we need to do the work for them. So we need to create blueprints, we need to create designs, we need to get them approved, do some research of materials, whatever that is. All of this takes a lot of time and effort and expertise. So once
yeah.
again, we can create this AI agent that can go out there, research, put together some notes, create a presentation, create some blueprints, send it to your client, get their feedback. Wherever your bottleneck is, it will help you move forward quickly.
You told me last time we spoke a few use cases. What about that project can connect with the average person listening,
Sure, sure, sure.
who's not just looking at it from above? Same
So I'll,
thing.
I'll give you a quick example, right? Like, so hiring, let's say hiring is a big challenge for a lot of businesses. The regular process is, let's say, even if I'm hiring for a junior position, mid-size position, mid-level position, or a senior position, generally people just put out the job description, they get a bunch of resumes, then they interview like a shortlist. Let's say I get 50 resumes. Out of that, I will shortlist 5 resumes and I'll conduct 5 interviews, right?
Hmm.
And out of that 5 interviews, I'll probably hire one person. Now, those 5 interviews probably will at least consume 5 hours of my time. And then when I hire the person, it will take about 2 to 3 months for me to understand this person is a good fit or not, because we
Yeah.
can only judge a person so much in 1 hour. With AI, what you can do is you can say, okay, not only I want the person to have all the qualifications and expertise that I need, but at a personal level, I want consistency, I want self-starter attitude, I want these soft skills that I need. In the interview, everybody will present themselves as to be the greatest employee ever, right? They'll say, yeah, I have all these soft skills. But with AI is very powerful in finding these very minute patterns.
Hmm.
AI can actually objectively tell you how do you rate each employee based on these soft skills. And that way you can shorten the period of which employee is the most compatible with you. Then comes training. So let's say you hire the employee. We are working in a connected world. There are a lot of people who do not understand English as their first language. So these are actual use cases I'm describing, right? So we have
Okay.
a client who is a restaurant owner. They employ a lot of people from like immigrants from other countries. It used to take them 16 weeks to train the employee before they actually became productive because of the language barriers and all of that, right? They can customize and personalize their training material for the person in their language, so that person is ready to be productive in 2 weeks.
Okay.
And another one could be lawyer's fee. I mean, again, if there are any lawyers in the audience, I apologize. This is not to spook you or kind of warn you. Things are changing in the sense that lawyer's fee costs a lot of money for small businesses. Today, what you can do is you can take a personalized AI that understands the way that you run your business, understand the way that you review your contracts. If you want to write a new contract, you can use AI. Or even more powerful thing is, if somebody sends you the contract, sometimes we don't even know which clause is not, it's a risky clause for me to sign, for example.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
can upload that contract or the context of that contract and say to AI, hey, be my advisor and tell me which clauses I should be aware of that I should not be signing, something along those lines. That
Yeah.
saves like tens of thousands of dollars to a small business.
If I'm listening in as someone who hasn't really incorporated AI properly, the way you guys at TetraNoodle would approach these, you're building tools around it, you're connecting it to data that is sitting locally or on a server that's protected. Also, you're coding in, you're creating essentially applications around the connection between the AI model and data to be able to interface with the company, the people in the business to provide the results. And then somebody who can't afford it to go down that route yet would ask, do I share with ChatGPT or Gemini my business information? And there's a lot of obviously resistance to sharing online to an AI model because they train on this data. I often say, like, yeah, be careful. I mean, don't give your ultimate private information, but definitely start kind of figuring out how to utilize that, how to share some data, how to share some knowledge, and also especially how to write a prompt and build that prompt.
Yeah.
That's what's the trick here, to tell it, give it the right instructions for the AI model to know how to analyze those resumes, just to kind of give a sense to an audience that haven't gone down the route that TetraNoodle provides services for,
These are
is
great
to
points.
say you can give it that contract, you can give it that data and not worry too much
So let
about
me
the
explain this, right?
yeah.
First of all, try to understand what is the risk associated with any kind of data that you are sharing. For example, let's say I have a cable, and this cable costs like a couple of dollars. If I lose it, it doesn't matter. That's a low risk item. If
Yeah.
I have a phone and it costs $1,000, if I lose it, that's a big problem. But even bigger problem is the data inside the phone that is even more valuable, right? I cannot lose it. So when I say upload the contract, there is something called a personal identifiable information. Anything that can connect the dots to an actual person or a company, don't upload that. Take it out.
Yeah.
Let's say you have the contract, take out the personally identified information, and then just upload the text. Say you are asking for some advice on budgeting, or you're asking AI to help you with your finances or something. You can take the export of your financial transactions, take out your account number, take out your bank details, and all you're left with is just
The
the
data.
financial transactions. So those
Yeah.
are anonymous,
Yeah.
So try to make your data as anonymous as possible, and then you can upload it to ChatGPT or private. So your point was also that, do I upload this into ChatGPT? Yeah. So if you're just starting off, if you don't have a lot of budget, then you use these public platforms and you understand what are custom GPTs, what is fine tuning. You'll need to understand that a little bit. It will
Yeah.
be very little cost to you, but of course, in this world, as you know, there are only two dimensions: cost and time. So if
Yeah.
you want to keep the cost low, you have to invest a little bit of time. Now, once you become comfortable and you say, hey, this is amazing, I want to create a private version of this AI that nobody has access to, then you kind of move towards a more mature system. So you can like take baby steps to get there.
Can you go into tell a bit about the desire, if you're allowed, the desire to learn project? Because
Right.
that one kind of stuck with me. Again, what was the trick there?
So this Desire to Learn project was about helping students finish their degree program. So in North America and in fact worldwide, there is a big problem that almost 30% of the students they drop out in higher education institutions. So if I enroll in a university, there's 30% likelihood I will drop out in the first 2 years. And the reason is higher education costs a lot of money. A lot of people are under student debt loan. It causes a lot of stress. That's one thing. But the most important thing is when I enroll in the university program, the courses I enroll in, they are sometimes too difficult for me to understand, or they are of not great interest to me as an individual. So I get advice from friends and family, career counselors, and they say, hey, go into science or go into accounting, go into this. But then when I go into these courses, they are not interesting to me. And so I drop out. This causes $460 billion loss in the US alone, yearly basis. Everybody has the ability to learn. Everybody has the ability to finish their degree as long as the courses they are taking, they are interesting to them and it is matching their ability to learn. So what we did was we took a lot of data from past students, hundreds of thousands of students, and we said let's look at their data. What were they doing in school? What kind of extracurricular activities they were participating in? What kind of grades they were getting? What was the environment? All of that, and we feed it into an AI model. And then on the other side, we say, okay, what kind of courses did they succeed in? And based on that model, it's almost like we came up with a recommendation engine, just like Netflix is able to recommend shows to you. Same thing as a student tries to enroll into a university. We say, okay, let me look at your past data. And based on that, I can tell you if you go into this course, this course, this course, you will do well. That was the project and was very, very successful. Actually, it got mentions from President Obama and Bill Gates about the impact it created.
So I assume you could then use that knowledge, that ability of the AI now with all that data to actually preempt. So when they're actually applying into the colleges and universities, if they share with you what they were like in high school, what does that mean? It's because we all go through it. I mean, I remember as a kid, I had a dream. I said, which I kind of followed, and in a way I could have pursued. It's not, things are not in life are never kind of down one single road, right?
Exactly.
But still, I never had anyone to really talk to and understand, okay, this is what I would like to do, but this is what I'm good at. This is who I am. And I just went down this kind of logical thinking and ended up in a degree that I didn't like, but actually I wanted to do films. I wanted to direct films. So it's related, but it's not the same. That kind of conversation at high school level. And if your AI model could it say, actually, these are the courses that suit you.
Absolutely, because you see, each and every class you are taking, all the grades you are taking, they're already in the school information systems now.
Yeah.
No? So we don't actually need to talk to you. We can actually monitor your performance in the background. And I can say, okay, based on how you are progressing, your interest lies in films. On the other hand, we can collect a whole bunch of data about the programs being offered in your country or globally. And if you don't have the exact program, then we can say, hey, okay, you are interested in these kind of activities. You are interested in films, but maybe in your community, there is not a great university that is offering that kind of education. But if you travel 3-4 hours out, there is this university that is offering a perfect kind of a program for you. You should look
Right.
at, right?
It can expand. That's what I liked about this particular project of yours. So it's basically looking at patterns, and you had to do a lot of iteration on that. And also, luckily, I assume, is that you had good data to work with. Part of your work at TetraNoodle, the big work, I assume, is a lot of conversations early on and a lot of looking and digging out and getting these businesses, these organizations to actually take out that data of this.
Yeah.
Because it's messy.
Yeah,
This is
absolutely. You hit it on the nail. Actually, every AI project I have been involved in, 80% of the effort goes into collecting and cleaning the data. Not only just the technical aspect of it, but actual human relationship building to establish the trust that, hey, if you give me your data, I will not like sell it, or I will not misuse it. I will clean it for a higher purpose. And so that is where 80% of our effort goes, like just building that relationship, building that trust, asking them to share their data, giving the insights back to them, and just like opening up that flow of data so that the AI model can. AI is nothing if you don't have the right data, and
Yeah.
collecting the data is the first step towards any AI success.
Last time we spoke, we presented this where you see AI going and how you envision it, that the AI will ultimately become the core of a business that sits there and essentially manages the processes. Is that something that you're already talking to clients on, or are you kind of just waiting for, are you just working within generative AI, boundaries? Are you actually looking ahead with them, or are you staying in the reality
See,
of
it
today?
all depends on each client. Some people want to move forward. And by the way, I want to clarify, generative AI is very small part of total AI landscape. Okay.
Yeah,
In many AI projects, actually, it can be only maybe 10 to 20% of generative AI. The rest is like automations, it's computer vision, it's data mining,
right.
text analysis, different fields of AI coming together. How far and how deep we want to go, it all depends on the client. Some people
Right.
are happy just scratching the surface and say, okay, this is my pain point right now. It will help me save 10 hours a week. I'm happy. Let's just implement this and we'll revisit it in 6 months. Okay, that's fine. But some
Yeah.
people say, okay, I see this is the time to disrupt entire industries. What they are doing is they are saying, okay, I have recognized a very, very big problem in my industry. So let me solve this for myself and go deep into it with the idea that once I solve this problem, I will turn around and sell it to 2,000 of my competitors. It all depends on how far they see this technology is going to take them, and they are willing to go that extra mile.
It's like the shoemaker always goes barefoot. How much are you guys implementing and building for yourselves?
We
The
are, we are,
tools.
we are,
Yeah.
we are always thinking AI first. So my standing instructions to my team is, and for myself, if you notice yourself doing something 3, 4 times in a day, stop and think, how can I do this with AI? Rather than
Yeah.
keep repeating it, just think AI first and then do it. And then we build tools and frameworks for our use. And then we start using, just like what I mentioned, if it is solving our problem, we start to share it with our client and say, hey, there's a new idea that we came up with. Will you like to try it? Sometimes they say, oh, yeah, this is amazing. And they start using it. We start maturing it into a solution.
Kind of a philosophical question of that you tell the people who are more kind of resistant, this tsunami of AI has arrived. And like you said, there's very few lifeboats. As you're developing solutions for companies and organizations, some of these solutions will evolve or already have into a situation where it does kind of threaten people's positions. I do think that what it does is allows for humans to enjoy their work more because they're not doing that repetitive labor. However, we know that it'll push people out of work in existing jobs. Whether or not they can then move on to do something else, I'm pretty sure they can if they just develop their skills. But how does it feel? Like, how do you deal with that as someone who's at a very, very high level developing AI solutions for businesses?
The role of technology is to provide convenience. Ever since caveman days, technology has created new opportunities and made other existing opportunities redundant. So there is going to be some job displacements. I completely agree with you, and it is a little bit of an unfortunate situation because people will not kind of force themselves to upskill themselves. People who will lose their jobs and livelihood first are the people who will resist the technology most. I mean, there's a famous kind of quote that everybody's using in our industry. AI is not going to take away your job. A person who understands and uses AI will take away your job. When I talk to people about their job today, their aspiration is, I want to get a raise, I want to get a bigger title, I want to rise up in the corporate ladder. The fastest way to rise up in any environment, in any organization, is to create more value, is to be more productive. How can you be more productive without working 80 hours a day? Is if you use these technologies and become productive, immediately you are the most valuable person in that organization, right? You mentioned earlier that you need to have a champion, you need to allocate some budget for somebody to learn this and then apply it in their business. Now, whoever takes that initiative today will become the most precious, valuable person in that organization.
For sure. And it's like there's a tech company here in Israel that I have a very good friend who's a director in the company, and I was hoping to come in and do some consulting and advising. Unfortunately, their IT team are very resistant. You have to get approvals. So she smartly got her team to just kind of work with the tools. So, and luckily for me, she kind of says, hey, watch Gore's channel. Here's his YouTube channel. See how he uses ChatGPT, learn it, apply it to Gemini, because they use the Google platform. It's really important, I think, to learn and build a workflow. And I'm constantly seeing that I'm having to build little workflows. I mean, I kind of am positively envious of you guys of TetraNoodle, is that you're actually coming in and saying, okay, let's build real solutions. That's the secret for businesses, is to approach a company like yours, approach TetraNoodle. If you're a mid-sized business, you have to. I think it's even a small business of 10 people, they should be able to put aside, like you said, $50,000. They can approach a company like yours and say, okay, look at our processes. How can we fix this? I do recommend management and business owners to approach. I'm plugging a TetraNoodle here to approach you guys.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's a big change coming, so we all need to work together. Just like you are working with certain type of businesses, we are working. So there is no competition here. There is only collaboration. There is only collaboration, because this is a massive, massive change at a global level, and we all need to work together to get through this. And on the other end, there is a lot of kind of convenience, a lot of prosperity, a lot of abundance, a lot of productivity gain. All that goodness is there. We need to get through this phase.
It's the convincing. Some things don't change. And one of the things that doesn't change is being able to just talk to other humans and convince them to go down a path without that resistance. And selling is hard. I mean, I've done sales. My last job was business development manager. So doing that sales and convincing, even one of my clients is a Pilates studio. I built a workflow for her to do her social media stuff. So I see her Instagram and Facebook messages, popping up, looking half a day later, and I'm like, you haven't answered the person. And that's a lead, that's come in. And I keep telling her, all you need to have is a bot that at least gets that initial pre-sale process going, so that that person gets your phone number and is kind of pushed to call. And then you close the deal. And she's like, yeah, I understand. But, it's kind of because she's so busy in life. And I'm plugging ChatGPT all the time. But to be honest, it doesn't really matter. Use the others. It doesn't, I'm not a big fan of the others except for now Gemini. But it doesn't matter. Because it just gets you going. It gets you to the point that now literally I can't work without it. I literally, like you said, we can't deal with the phone without the phone. I'm at the point where I can't operate without having to get feedback from my assistant. And I don't know if that's what you guys are starting to incorporate now, is the interface is now vocal.
Exactly.
It's now not typing only. I'm still obviously doing a lot of typing, but I'm just talking to it. And I'm doing what Sam Altman says he did. And that was many months ago. But now my microphone's switched on and I'm just working. And then suddenly I'll speak up and I'll say to ChatGPT, and even for this conversation, I said, wait, what if I asked Manuj this question? And we went through a brainstorm. I'm like, okay, I'll type that in.
So these are excellent ideas. Excellent ideas. I mean, I hope people start to use them in this way.
There's a lot more to dig in. If anyone wants to hear what Manuj says about AI, he's online in multiple platforms. I'll link, obviously, in the description about you, and I'll link to TetraNoodle. If you're a business owner, if you're upper management or management, and you want to access the power that TetraNoodle can bring your company, then I'll link to that in the description so that you can reach out to them. Hopefully, we get to see more of your work.
I appreciate it. And I hope we can all, as I said, we are all in this journey together. So even the work you are doing, truly impactful. The idea is let's do this together. At the end of the day, we are all looking for prosperity and our time back, right? Like we want to be rich, but we don't want to be slave to a business. And that is the promise of AI.
Yeah, I can help in that for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Thanks for that, Manuj.
Great. Thank you so much.
If you want to use AI to solve real problems in your business, then I really recommend that you reach out to TetraNoodle. Their link is in the description below. I'm really impressed by their practical solutions and how they're keeping ahead of the curve. And if you like this video, click the like button and do subscribe to my channel for more AI tools and tips. And if you want to level up your prompting, click on this video link here. Or if you want to see how you can use AI in your team, then check out this video here.